Okay, I'm going to start to teach you how to make a booklet in Microsoft Word using an Access database. The first thing you want to do is open up Microsoft Word and create a new document, and you're going to go to your Mailings tab and start a mail merge and choose your directory. The next thing you need to do is choose your recipients. In this case, I'm going to go in and choose my recipe database, and I'm making a recipe book. My recipe table, and then I need to design my document and put in all of my fields. That's my list. I'm going to sort it ascending on the title. Dot OK. And I'm going to create my fields by using Insert Merge Field. If I just drop down on the drop down arrow, it drops it down here, and then it keeps closing on you. So I would do title and it would close, and line 1 and it would close. I don't really want to do that. I want to put them all in and then organize them. So if you click up in the middle of that, up in this grade part, it opens the table down here. So then I can just click through them. I've already got title in line 1. I can double click and it just puts lines in consecutively. Okay, I can say close. Then I can continue organizing that document. So I'm just finishing up here on my document. Oops, that got rid of my lines. Get between them. My clock loves to join in. Alright, now I've got all these lined up the way I want them, and I'm going to go to my Layout tab and set that up so that they are line by line. As you can see, I've got my paragraph marks on. I can turn them off under the Home tab and over here at the paragraph. So I can shut them off, but I like to see them while I'm working so I know where I'm entering everything. So I've set up my title, and my title is going to be a heading. And even though it changes the font and everything, I can choose the font that I want and set it up just the way I want once I get it set as title. I just want that to be my title. I'm going to color it purple, and my lines, my body is going to be just the regular Calibri. I want those to be a 14. I don't want them italicized. Okay, so I wanted the preparation to be included in that. So same thing. Alright, now it looks good to me. So at the very end of this document, the very last line of type, you're going to put in a page break, okay? And this is a next page break, not just a page, a next page, because that's going to signify where this recipe card ends and the next recipe card begins on a next page. So you insert that there, and you can see it here. When you've got these turned on, you can see that that page break is there. Again, you can go back over to your Mailings tab. You can edit that recipient list. Like I said, I put it in title order, ascending, and if there were something that you wanted to uncheck or check, if you were making a different type of document and you wanted to only check a certain number of them, you could check just a certain number of them in any combination, and then it would have those to preview over here as you toggle through these once you turn on your preview results, you can toggle through and see what shape your table is in. I see some issues with it right here, multiple headings under one page. So that's going to be corrected when I get into my actual document. So once this is set up, you can go ahead to the Finish and Merge, Edit Individual Documents, and All, merge to a new document. Your new document's going to pop up. It's populated. You can see over here under the navigation pane that you've got all of your titles, because we named the title and made it a heading. In navigation, it made each one of those a title page. Each page is independent, so when I click through here, it takes me right to the page. So I can see that there's some issues with my pages. This should all be on one line, so I can go ahead and fix it. I've got multiple things like that that ended up with a problem. Not a big deal. I can go ahead and fix those and get them the way I want them. I can see my spaces are in by these little dots. There'd be a lot more of these that probably didn't transfer quite the way they should have. And you may have a document that does the same. If it sees a second line in that heading, and it moved it over to become a title itself, then it's going to have its own navigation page. But when I take that out of there, you can see that that navigation page goes back to just one single navigation for each page. So as I scroll down through, and I have like 300 pages plus, so as I scroll down through here, I know a couple of them are not right, so I can fix them pretty quickly. Might have a little spacing issue here too. I didn't get much separation, so some of them did, some of them didn't, and you can fix that just by putting in just by entering, making a space in between them. If you want to go ahead and rebuild your starting document here, you could do that instead. You could move that down so that you had that spacing in there. You could make that extra wide if you wanted to by extending it down. So you could change that and then redo your merge. So, but I'm just going to worry about fixing what I got here. I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, well, let's try and get that back. There's my directory. Okay. So there's what I was working in. All right, so when you're relatively happy that you've set everything up right, you want to be pretty happy that you've got your pages going along the way you wanted them, and that not just getting multiple titles for the same page. So there's another one. I probably shouldn't have started with a document that has 300 pages to it to give as a tutorial, but that's just how it worked out. The other thing you can do if you didn't want that to move up to the next section is you can just say normal. Okay, and you can then move it over here. You could color it the same thing. You could make it look about the same, so it can just be underneath that, and then it doesn't give it a line item. So that's an option too. So I can just turn that heading off, put it on normal, then it gets rid of that little header that it was giving it. Put it back over there, update it, and give it a 14. And it was Calibri Light for the title. So there, you can make it look just like it, only it's not going to be filling in the same. It's not going to be making a separate heading over here like it had a second ago. So I should go a little slower on that so you can see. Okay, so this one. It made a separate title, rustic Italian bread, and this one is very, very good. Okay, because it sees that is another heading. You can see it when it's clicked. It thinks it's a heading. So when I select the whole thing by clicking over here and go to normal, that gets rid of it. But it also changes the formatting, so I can change it back and make it match that and put it under it. So I still get the same look to it that I wanted, but it doesn't become a title over here. As you can see, it's gone. And there's two of the same recipe. So let's see if they're identical. If they're identical recipes, then why don't we just, I think this one's formatted better. We're going to go right in here and we're going to delete that one. And we're going to delete that. Okay, now we only have one rustic bread. There we go. Looks like our ingredients got shifted. There we go. Okay, so same thing, go down through and fix all them. Alright, and we'll continue with the next thing in a second. Okay, so we're back. I fixed a few more of these. And I wanted to show you how easy it is to rearrange pages, reorganize pages. If you have an issue with a page, it's out of order. We did go alphabetical, so it started with the number, and I don't want that to be there. I want that to be down here with bean soup, I guess, for B. So we could put it under soup if we want under soup, but I'm going to put it there under 15 bean soup. So it's relocated. Some of these are really in need of some organizing, getting them so they're not so sprawled out. So I might even take the entire table and select all and turn off all of my before and after spacings. Set them all to 0. If it'll let me do that. So everything compresses a little bit. There we go. And it's close to being on its own page without so much run over onto another. Now some of the recipes are large and would run on to the next page, and that's okay too. So you can see that the majority of them aren't kicking off onto the next page, but you got some that are right into the heading, so you can move those around. Remember, you can go through and do all that, get that all set up. Now the next thing is, if you have pictures that you want to add for these, you can easily add pictures for each one of these recipes. So let's see, we'll start with how about an apple pie. So we put our cursor in here. I'm going to give a little bit of space right here. I like to start right there. It gives me a good point. It kicks the pages down for a second, but then we can easily get them back where they belong. So we're going to start here. We're going to go insert and get our pictures, or we can copy and paste. I mostly like to open another window on my computer and then right click on the item and copy and paste it. But I can go look and find my pictures too. So hopefully I've left a spot for these pictures on my drive in with the recipes. So I have created a folder called Recipe Images in my recipes. So I can go find my apple pie, and there's my apple pie, and I can insert it, and it's going to be huge. First thing I want to do is go to my wrap text. At least it wasn't midnight. So go to my wrap text, and I'm going to call it through. So when I move that around, the text is going to wrap all around through that, and it looks kind of neat. So there's my pie. Didn't change any pages or anything, but it's sitting right there. Alright, so I'm going to go get my custard. Insert pictures from this device. Goes right back into where I was. And here's my baked custard. And I can insert that. Same thing, I can go to wrap text through, and then when I shrink it, it's easily moved around in the document. Okay, remember, keep track of your margins, make things look symmetrical if you can, make things look nice. You can be checking these recipes while you're going down through, seeing if you like everything. Alright, again, it didn't kick anything off to another page because it's wrapping it. Let's try the beef stroganoff. Alright, let's see if we have the beef stroganoff. There's the beef stroganoff picture. Okay, and same thing, wrap your text through, drag it around, and put it where you need it in your recipe. Okay, just a little close to the top. Remember, you can enter and kick that down, and you can get your document in here. Your picture, I mean. There you go. You don't want it to end up in this title and start thinking that picture is some kind of title. And there you go. So you got some pictures in there. Alright, so we'll go on to the next step, which is putting in our table of contents. Because I'm going to have this be numbered. The pages are going to be numbered at the bottom, and I'm going to have a table of contents. So I'd go into my References tab. You might want to do a save at this point. You've done a lot of work on it, so you can go and save as, and I'm just gonna put this in my recipe thing, and I'll call it tutorial, recipe tutorial. There we go. Okay, and that's saved as a docx. And now we're going to go into our references, and we're going to go to the table of contents. And if I were to enter this table of contents right now, it would put the table of contents right after this word. So you don't want to do that. But if you did happen to insert that table of contents there and said, where'd my table of contents go? Well, it's on your beef stroganoff page right there after that. And there's your contents. So we're going to undo that, because that wasn't where we want to put it. We have our page marks under the Home tab. Turn on our paragraph marks, and we're going to get up to the very beginning of our document before this Alfredo sauce, and we're going to insert it before that. Okay, I like to actually give it a page break right here, so I know that it's before that. And then I'm going to go up to my References tab, Table of Contents, and enter my table of contents. Okay. Oh, actually, that didn't do well to do the section break, so let's not do that section break there. Let's just do the table of contents. I guess the section break was after. Yeah, that's after it. So when I get at the very end of this document, get at the very last word of it, then you can do your insert next page break. So that ends this and begins your first recipe. Okay? And we still don't have page numbers on our booklet itself, although the table of contents are numbered right now. So that's the next step, getting our page numbers in. I'm going to take a break. Okay, I'm back. Now we're going to do our page numbers. Okay, so the page numbers, we're going to start on our very first page. Double click at the bottom so that you open up your header and footer. And we're going to insert the page number from the header and footer tab. Okay, we're not going to do the insert and go to page number and do this deal from here with one of the pre-programmed things, because we want to do some tweaking to this. So we're not going to use that one. We're going to get in our header footer on our first page, the first page of our table of contents. double click to get your header and footer open. Go to your page number. Actually, I'm going to type page space, and then go to my page number, and I'm going to put the current position, and I'm just going to put page 1. And there's my page 1. Alright. Now, when I close my header and footer, and I scroll down through, I see page 2, page 3, page 4, all the way down through my table of contents to page 8, and then my first document became 9, when I didn't really want that to be 9. I want it to be my number 1. So I can update the table. It's telling me to update the table. Update the page numbers only, and look when I update it. It says it's page 9. I don't want that to be page 9. I do want it to be page 1. It's my first recipe. I want my table of contents not to be page 1. So I'm going to go into my footer again, and I'm going to highlight this number 1 in my footer. Actually, as you were. I'm going to go down to my first page, which is my Alfredo sauce, and I'm going to highlight that one, and I'm going to right click it and format my page number, and I want this page to start at page number 1, and that's my page number 1. So up here is page 8, and here is page 1. And then I'm going to go back up here to this one, and I want it to be different, so I'm going to make this a Roman numeral. Same thing, I'm going to right click, format page numbers, and I'm going to choose this format for the pages up at the top. Okay, and page 1. Now I'm going to go out to my references tab. I'm sorry, I've got to click off this, close my header and footer. I'm going to go to my references tab, and I'm going to say update table, update page numbers only, and it's going to go and update all my page numbers. So now my Alfredo sauce starts at page number 1, and my table of contents is the Roman numerals. If I turn this off, you can see them a little easier. So they are page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, and back to page 1 on this. So again, I do a save right here because you've done an important piece of work. Your numbers, your page numbers look like they're in the order that they should be. Kind of scroll through and see your documents progressing the way you want, and you could do a save right here. Okay, and so at this point we've learned how to put in some pictures. We've got our page number. If I want my page numbers to be centered, I can double click in that header footer section and just go to my home tab, center it. You could make it smaller. You could make the writing is in 11 right now, where the rest is in 14. So I wouldn't go too much smaller than that, but you could. And when you move that one, all of them are going to move. So you click off your header, footer. You can scroll down through and you can see that all your numbers have moved over. If you can have them right aligned, left aligned, however you like your book to work out. Okay, if you want to change your margins, you can change them. You could go into your layout and you could make smaller margins. I wouldn't make bigger ones, not with this many pages, but you could go and make smaller ones. Depends on your document. And you can go through and you can tweak a few little things that, didn't quite work out the way you envisioned them, things that got connected together. It shouldn't be. Maybe you want to go through and if something kicked one little line over the next page, maybe you can adjust it somehow. You'll probably put in more pictures. In the case of a recipe, you probably have a lot more pictures that you wanted to add. And that's about it. The only other thing I did want to talk about is an error that I ran into when I was building this book the first time around, which is what led me to do the tutorial in the first place, because I searched for probably close to a week to try and find a solution to this, and I kept thinking that what was wrong was one thing and it actually originated elsewhere. So I can make that happen. I think I can make that, I can generate that mistake. So give me a minute and we'll figure that out. I'll show you how to mess it up and we'll show you how to fix it again. Okay, so I'll show you what happened when I tried to rearrange my pages, and I had already put my page numbers in, and I moved a page that was an important page in the structure of everything. So I had taken my first page, which originally was that 15 bean soup, and I said, well, 15 bean soup shouldn't be first. So I grabbed it and dragged it, and when I did that, I'm going to do it with the Alfredo. So I go into the headings here, and this Alfredo is my page 1 right now. And let's say that I decided that I wanted my Alfredo to be, for whatever reason, I wanted it to be down here, and I moved it down here. So I wanted that Alfredo to be there, and I'm going to update my table, update my page numbers. So then I go back and I look at my pages, and page 1 is after page 27. Well, what happened? So I had 1, then 9. Why is Alfredo sauce up there? And I moved it. Okay, well, I guess I got to update the entire table because I moved that Alfredo sauce. Oh, there. Now my Alfredo sauce moved. Uh-oh. My Alfredo sauce moved, but my numbers are all messed up. Now my numbers are all out of order. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what happened to that. And I couldn't figure out what caused it, and I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. Because over here, everything looked fine. And I just kept thinking, it's my table of contents. It's messed up in my table of contents. But it wasn't my table of contents. I deleted the table of contents, and I removed it, and every time I put it back, it was still the same problem. I tried to copy and paste it into a new document. That wasn't the issue. The issue wasn't actually living in the table of contents, let's say. The issue was in this document. So this document that became number 1 and started the whole process over down here is the issue. So when I went to this Alfredo sauce object and I turn on all my paragraph marks and I double click in this footer, the problem with this is this number, this page 1. When we formatted that, remember we told it to start at page 1. Now it needs to continue from previous section because we relocated it. So it needs to know that it got relocated. So as soon as I do that, that corrects that. And I can go back up in my table. I can go into my reference. I gotta shut the header footer off. I can go into my references. I can go to update table, update my entire table, and say OK. and then go back and check and see if this table corrected itself. I've got the 1 through 8 in the Roman numerals, 6, 7, 8 in the Roman numerals, and now this is page 9. So we went back to the same thing that we had before with starting with page 9, and that's okay because we know how to get this back to page 1. We have to tell it that this is page 1. This is our starting page. How we do that? We get in this footer, we highlight that number and go to Format Page Numbers, start at page 1, and then we can go close this footer and go update our table. We'll update the entire table again, it's okay. The most I've seen happen when I do that is lose these Roman numerals and have to put them in again. So now I'm back to my page 1. So when I go up and look at my table, my numbers have corrected themselves. I hope that alone is worth the price of admission, because there was nothing I could find about that. And everything I had in my head was that there was something wrong with the table of contents, when in fact it wasn't the table of contents, it was that document. And this structure that's in this footer is so very important. And one spot told me that I had to remove all of my section, same as previous, in order to get rid of that problem. So I went through this 300-page document and removed all of them, only to figure out that I had to put them back in the end, because they are important and they needed to be there. So it was just using that page numbering method. And I think I had used the page numbering method that is the one we all use on most documents, which is page number, insert bottom of the page, page 1 of what, or and don't use the page numbering from there. Use the page numbering only from the header and footer tab. Go over here, use this, use the current position, make it a simple number, put your text in that you want to repeat on each page, and then go from there, editing that number. If you want to change it to be your page 1 down here, or if you want it to be your Roman numeral at the beginning of your table of contents. So I hope that was helpful to somebody. And then you can save your book when you're happy with it. Close your header. Save your book when you're happy with it. And I'm not sure, I don't think there were other things to do with the book, other issues. I mean, you want to make your table of contents prettier, there's tutorials out there for that. There's a lot of people that have information on how to do that. I'm okay with basic as far as that outline goes. It was just very important to me to have my page numbers be in my document and be able to know that when I printed this out, they were going to have a recipe book that they could actually look at and find the page number, because they have a table of contents that tells them where it is. Now the really neat thing about this is when you go to your cell phone, if you have loaded this out to the internet, and everything I have lives on G Suite, so this is actually being built out on the internet anyway. It lives out on my G Suite on my drive. So when I open this up in my phone and look at it on the internet, it is web friendly. It is all web formatted. When I click on a recipe, it takes me, when I click on one of these titles, it takes me right to the recipe in my phone. It includes the pictures, so if I have put a picture in here of that recipe, it includes the picture, pops right up in that recipe. So it's very intuitive. It's really exciting that you can share that with anybody and have your document, whether it's recipes or whether it's a booklet, whether it's a book of games or poker or whatever. It's right out there for anybody to see and use. And it's that easy. I hope, again, that this is helpful to people that were struggling to find out a way to fix their page numbers. So I'll put this out on the YouTube and hopefully it'll help somebody. All right. Thank you again. Have a good night. I thought I'd give you a quick show of what it does on the phone, even though it doesn't come up very clear for me here. So you can see that you can see all of your tables here. Your whole recipe database is here. It's really blurry. I'm sorry about that. I don't know how to make it better. And if I choose one of these recipes and go to the recipe, there's the recipe. It's linked right to it. Pretty blurry on here. I'm not sure how you do this. But anyway, you see how it works on your phone. It goes right to the recipe. You can work right in there. You're at the supermarket and you need to get your ingredients list. I guess you have to put some glasses on if it's going to be that blurry, but seriously, it's not that blurry. It's just this webcam. So that gives you an idea of how intuitive it is for the internet. If you want to get back to the top, unfortunately, you got to drag it all the way back up. A tap puts it back to the full pages of the index and right on down through. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks.